Measures of dispersion is how data is spread out about the mean. So when we're looking at the mean absolute deviation, we're talking about the average distance of each data value from the mean. Distance of each value from the mean. So the first thing that we obviously have to do is find the mean since we're looking at that distance, right? So again, we're going to plug that in the calculator. Always clear your calculator, which is second plus sign 712, second plus sign 722, and stat 5 enter. So you're resetting the calculator, and then you're going to input your numbers. So you go stat, edit, and you put in all your numbers. Then you go stat, move over to calculate, and your mean is the first one. So your mean is 50. And if we're finding the distance from the mean, so then we have to also subtract these values from the mean. It doesn't matter which order we do it, so we're going to do it in two ways. So I'm going to do the mean minus each data, and in the next example, I'll do each data minus the mean. So go ahead and punch all that in the calculator. This is a listening check. Circle the number 1. Alright, so once you've gone ahead and subtracted everything, alright, it has to be positive. It has to be the absolute value. It's called mean absolute deviation. So you have to make every negative positive. Once you've done that, you can find the average of that by adding them all together and dividing by the number of numbers. So when I add them all together, it's going to be 32. And then I'm going to divide by the number of numbers, which is 7, to get 4.6. That's how you find the math. Alright, median is already there in all your values. Just looking for MVP. IQR interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, so Q3 is 62, Q1 is 49, so that gives me 13. The range is the maximum minus the minimum. Just go look at the maximum, which is 62, minus the minimum, which is 14, giving you 14. So this unit is actually really easy. You just have to know how to plug it. Alright, so let's take a look at another example. Alright, so again, the first thing to do is to find the mean. So you're going to stat, edit, then put in all your numbers. Then you're going to go stat, move over to calculate, and press enter, and there's your mean. Might as well get my median while I'm here, which is 10. My IQR is Q3 minus Q1, which is 12 minus 9, which is 3. My range is my maximum, 16, minus my minimum, 8, which is 3. Find MAD, subtract all the numbers from the mean. So instead of doing the mean minus the numbers, I'm going to do it the other way to show you that it doesn't matter which way you do it. So I'm going to take each number and subtract the mean, which is 10.7. Never said it would be easy. Hard to keep believing. Every single number. And to make sure you don't skip a number, if you just cover your finger with a number you've already used. You can also see in the calculator it keeps it. So I see that I've used 10 just now, so the next number to 10. So just subtract all the numbers. And again, because it's called the mean absolute deviation, absolute, it means that we have to take the absolute value of all these numbers, which means we have to turn every single negative into a positive. This is a listening check. Color in mean 10.7. Alright, then after we've done that, you add up all of the numbers and you divide by the number of numbers. In other words, you're finding the average of the difference. Okay, so MAD is the average of the difference between the mean and the data set. So 18.4 divided the number of numbers, which is 10, will give me 1.84. Alright, so I'll do the same thing. Input your data set, so stat, edit, put in all your numbers. Then stat, move over to calculate, and press enter. Alright, so the mean is 10. Now I'm going to show you how to use the calculator to find the MAD. So after I find the median, the interquartile range, and the range. So IQR is Q3 minus Q1. The range is the maximum minus the minimum. Alright, I'm going to use the calculator to calculate math. I wrote down the steps over here. It might be a little bit complicated, so you might want to do it by hand. So you move the arrow to L2, then you hit second 0. See where it says absolute. You're gonna press enter. Once it does that, you're gonna do, because you want the absolute value of the difference, so you're gonna do L1 because that's where all the data are, right? Minus the mean because that's what I would have done by hand, which is the mean of this question, 10. Close the parentheses. So now you're telling the calculator, hey, take every data value, subtract the mean, and make it positive. And now it's done that. So those would be all the values in red right there. Okay, now remember we have to add them all up and divide by the number of numbers. Well, I can do that if I make L1 L2 and delete L2. I can make the calculator find the mean of that, which is the average, which is adding them all up and divided by hitting stat, calculate, enter, and then I get my math. So I'm going to prove this by hand. So again, you subtract the mean from all the data. Once you do that, you make them all positive, and you add them all up and divide by the number of numbers. You still get 12. So 2 ways you could do it. The calculator is also long and you have to remember which way to do it. So I'll leave it up to you to decide which one to do. So I'm going to do the rest by calculator. So you input all the numbers. Try you again. Then stat, move over to calculator, find the mean, which is 10. While I'm here, I'm going to find the median, which is scrolling down is 10. IQR is Q3 minus Q1, so 11.5 minus 8.5. And then the range is the maximum, which is 12, minus the minimum, which is 8, which is 4. All right, so to find math again, you're going to go stat, move over to L2, then hit second 0. The absolute value, you're going to hit enter. So now you're telling the calculator, take the positive of L1 minus, so second 1 will give you L1 minus the mean, which is 10, close the parentheses. So the calculator works it out for you, puts it in L2. Those are all the individual red numbers. Okay, now I want to add all those numbers up and divide it by the number of numbers. I want to find the mean or the average. So I'm going to move those numbers to L1. There's got to be a way to do it in L2, but I just don't know what it is. And then I'm going to delete L2. And I'm find the mean by hitting stat, moving over to calculate and pressing enter. And the mean is 1.2, which is my math. I'll do one more example. So again, stat, edit, put in all your numbers. This is a listening check, color in all these numbers. All right, then stat, move over to calculator, enter. There's your mean, which is 10. My median is 12. My interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, which is 15. My range is my maximum minus my minimum, which is 18. Find my math. I'm going to go back to stat, edit, and there's my values, but now I'm going to tell the calculator what to do. So I'm going to go to L2, then hit second 0, enter on absolute, and then I want L1, so I'm going to hit second 1, because it's in blue, minus my mean, which is 10, close the parentheses. So now it's finding, it's going ahead and subtract for me and make it positive. Then I need to add all this up, base, and divide by the number of numbers, so I need to find the mean. So in other words, I'm going to transfer it to L1 and get rid of L2. And I'm going to find the mean by going stat, calculate, and there's the mean 6.2. Right, so if the calculator is a little confusing, you can do it by hand, but that's pretty much all there is to it. Let's practice.